Nerdbox.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Whoa! Oh my gosh!
Dude, dangle.
It's
Welcome
the yoink.
Yeah, I know. Look at that. No, you're almost like a floating face in that new background there.
This is hopefully be the last time that I do a background like this.
He's gotta get himself some
I'm
party
updating my
lights.
setup. Your party lights make you look like you're from the Matrix sometimes.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
That's how we like it.
All right.
None
So
of this is real.
welcome everybody to the Howling Hour Live. On today's episode, we're going to talk about slashers, zombies, and werewolves. Oh my! And with me today is the friendly neighborhood Noah and Yoink himself. Lukas is back.
Fixing my lights.
You should have been ready.
I was not. I was very unprepared for today, but it's okay. We're making do.
All right, so it's been a pretty exciting weekend. Noah, you and I went down to the New Jersey HorrorCon sideshow market, met some great people, caught up with some great people, got an exclusive news bit to drop here a little bit on our
we'll be
slasher
talking
news.
about in a minute. Yes, and true. Yes, we got to see meet. Not meet. We got to see. Well, I'm meeting for the first time Miss Nancy Ritter because I did not. She knew me, but I did not know her. I had not met her before. I got to see Angela Goethals. She got really mad at me that I messed up her last name. Angela Goethals and Nathan Basil. We got them. They were great. They were a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a great time. I was working it for the most part, so I didn't really get to see any of the booths, but they had some cool stuff that I saw. But yeah, got to meet up with some people who were in slasher films on yesterday.
Yeah, the stream crew was down there, so it was a good
Were
time.
indeed.
It was a good time. So I don't know if you both have been keeping up with some of the news that's been going on out there, but so we got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got about 6, 7 topics to talk about when it comes to slasher news. So the last 2 weeks has been pretty busy when it comes to that type of stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is going to be Saw 11. So I don't know if any of you saw the tweet from the director that's out there, Kevin Grutert. Hopefully I am saying that correctly. But yeah, he kind of shared a little cryptic tweet the other day out there. So let me go ahead and share my screen and show you what I am talking about.
Did you see Saw? Have you seen? Did you see Saw?
Did I see Saw? Not
yeah,
since
did you
I
see
was
Saw?
a kid. Not since I was a kid.
But did you see Saw?
Yes, I did see Saw X.
Oh, okay.
Saw X was fantastic.
It's too late to say I see what you did there.
That's what you get for having to not be prepared at this current juncture, little pleb boy.
Yes. So what we're seeing here is a clip from the ending of Saw X. So this was the final scene.
Yeah.
Yep, it was a heartbreaker of a clip. I know, no, you haven't seen it yet.
I have
not.
But
as we know, Saw was supposed to come out this year, but there's been a lot of controversy when it comes around what's going on behind the scenes. As always, the studios are at play, doing some harsh things out there. But the one thing that really has kind of got me is that, so I don't know if you guys heard the news, but Blumhouse has made a deal back in April with Lionsgate to go ahead and start remaking all of Lionsgate's horror catalog. So I know,
great.
Yeah, right.
What's in Lionsgate horror catalog? Just so I'm caught up to speed.
So we got the Saw franchise.
Okay.
We got the Blair Witch franchise. We got The Blackening. We got Cabin in the Woods. We also have House of a Thousand Corpses and the Devil's Rejects franchise that's in there too.
Are they
And
owned by Lionsgate or are they owned by Rob Zombie?
well, I believe Lionsgate has the distribution rights to House of a Thousand Corpses,
So
so
we're gonna be
they
getting a lot of down or like B grade remakes of films. Great. I
yeah.
can't wait for the Blair Witch Project to get its resurgence, and then everyone's like, "Oh, these films are so bad." It's like, really? Then go watch the first one.
Well, so there's a big controversy about the Blair Witch because they want to use the characters' names. Well, they're not really character names. That's the actual real life people that starred in the film. That's their names. So if
Oh,
they're
they
gonna
used their
reboot,
actual names in the first one.
yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
that's actually how I found out that it was a fake movie. So for those of you that were not around for the Blair Witch release, Blair Witch was one of the first viral horror films to ever happen out there. So there was a website out there hinting at something bad that actually happened in the woods and talking about the tapes that were found. Then MTV released a documentary before the movie came out, going over the interviews that we haven't seen in the film. So there was a lot of buildup going into this movie where everybody thought what happened was real. So I remember the first night that I saw it. This was the first movie that I saw two times in the theaters, and it was like 2 decades afterwards that I haven't seen another movie back to back like that. But the first time I went to see Blair Witch in the theaters, I came out. Everybody was just silent, whispering amongst themselves because we lived in the Poconos, which is in a heavily wooded area, so people were creeped out. Like I heard people talking was like, "Oh, I'm never going camping again," right? It was such a heavy downer on everybody because we saw what happened at the end of the film with Josh standing in the corner and then everything cutting to black. Well, I went to see it the next night and I stayed for credits that time. And I never really ever stayed for credits before, but I stayed for credits. And then that's where I was like, oh my God, it's fake because they had the character names played by themselves and then they started listing out everybody else. So I was like, oh, they got me. So over time, over the weeks, as the truth came out about the film, that's where you started hearing people's like, oh, well, I didn't really like it. No, but you liked it the first time you saw it and you thought it was real. But yeah, so
Weird.
Blumhouse now is working with Lionsgate to reproduce their catalog of films, and people aren't happy about it with Blair Witch that worked on Blair Witch. And Chris from 3C Films did some digging, and he thinks that the problems going on behind the scenes with Saw 11 is actually that you have a divide where you may have somebody that wants to let Blumhouse just cut the paycheck and let them do the Saw franchise over, where they want to just go ahead and continue doing the Saw franchise. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on thinking about having a Saw franchise complete reboot or just getting Saw 11?
I'd much
See,
prefer
the
Saw
problem
11.
the problem with see here, I would prefer the complete. What was that shadow that just walked behind you? Is that
Ghost.
Brenton?
Don't worry about him.
It's a ghost.
Oh, okay.
Don't talk
Alright.
about him. He
Well,
gets upset.
oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Not Ghost. That's not there. Anyways, so I mean, would I ideally like to see Saw like fully rebooted because them killing Tobin Bell was a really bad choice and they shouldn't have done that. And also, there's a lot that they could have done with the story that they chose not to do with the story. Yes, I would love to see that. However, if they reboot it, chances are Tobin Bell's old. Like he's not a spry chicken. So like they either are gonna have him for maybe a couple movies, depending on how quick these release, because they could, release it once a year and rake the money in,
Do a
or
Marvel.
they could actually take the time and release good films. But then God forbid he passes, so we lose Tobin Bell, and then we lose him throughout the franchise. So it's either that or they don't reintroduce him as John Kramer in the movie, which I would hate. So I think for short term, until we find a replacement for John Kramer, because you don't, it's not just the acting, it's also the voice. Like way so it's the voice and also the way that he projects himself in the movies too. So you would have to have somebody that can match that like energy on screen and also have that captivating of a voice, and also somebody who's in that we're less fearful might kick the bucket soon. But for
Now,
now, Saw 11, I would like to see what Lionsgate had to offer because of how high praise Saw X was. And the fact that it
well,
was about to release this year anyways.
yeah, Saw X was a fantastic film. Lucas, you can jump in a
Oh yeah.
second on that. But the ending was great. It was a movie that got you in the feels for John Kramer, right? People were misty-eyed watching that movie if you haven't seen it. It was such a great film. It may be the best film in the entire franchise, if not a close second to the original Saw. But the way Saw X ended, it ended where it set up on a part 11 where John's not really going to be the villain. I don't consider him a villain anyway, but he's not going to be the antagonist in the next film. He may actually be hunted by the people that he let go in the previous film.
That's fair. But yeah,
So he just makes like Vietnam traps, like he's got the spikes hidden by foliage.
it's
or whatever,
Rambo.
like-
It's all just leading to Rambo. It all
Mhm.
goes to Rambo.
What we're gonna get John Kramer as Rambo in Saw as a
Yeah.
like 70-year-old man.
It's gonna be no. It's not even gonna be called Saw anymore. It's just gonna be called John Kramer First Blood, or some shit. I don't know.
So what do you
Nah,
think?
About the Rainbow Awakening.
I love Saw X, and you guys know that. Would I really want a Saw 11 that's like, I get, because Saw X was kind of a prequel, wasn't it? Or was that supposed to be a sequel to one movie?
Saw X is in between 2 and 3.
Okay. Yeah, because I never got like the timeline of things. I just thought it was like before everything because they didn't mention
Just
anybody
follow,
but the
just,
one chick. But
just follow
yeah, no-
his
Oh.
descent of cancer. Because in 3, like he's like out
Oh,
the
no.
door.
Yeah,
Alright,
that's
Cut
Lucas,
out part of
keep
his
going.
skull and
yeah,
whatnot.
no, I mean, if we were to get a Saw 11, I feel like I would enjoy that more than just rebooting the whole thing. Because, like Noah said, the guy that plays John Kramer, I can't say his name as well as he did, but
Tobin Bell.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, the guy
what I'm
that
here
plays
for.
him, he does have a very, he has that presence that makes him John Kramer. He doesn't. It's not something that can just really be passed along. If they were to do a reboot, I would prefer they just come up with a completely new Saw killer.
I think so too.
I think that would be much more
Serial
interesting
eater.
because that's what I liked about Spiral. That it
You
wasn't.
gotta
John
you gotta
Kramer,
watch your
that
K. You
it
gotta watch your
was-
K's, bro.
Huh?
You gotta watch your K's.
Oh,
He's a serial
oopsies.
eater. He didn't do any of that stuff that you just mentioned before. What the
Exactly.
hell's wrong with you?
All right. So go ahead, finish. No, you're gonna
Yeah,
get a timeout, man, buddy.
Yeah, you little.
I'm trying to help you with demonetization.
Oh, I want to say so many curse words. All right, but yeah, no, I mean, again, like I'd really rather them just do something with a new killer. Have it be like they could still connect it to the old story too, where it's just really good or something. I don't know. They'd have to
Yeah.
make it really fantastic for me to care.
Look, I'm not in favor of what they're doing with AI, but this may be like what they did with Darth Vader. Hey, Tobin Bell, tons of money. Say, hey, look, we want to use your voice in the future if anything happens, and then give me Dr. Gordon. I need to see Screw the reboot. Continue Dr. Gordon's story. That's what I'm
even
telling
Jigsaw from even like the Saw Puzzle Master from Jigsaw, like that reboot that was technically supposed to be. That was he was good too. I liked him too.
Yep.
And honestly, you can't tell me that woman's not going to be, that woman wouldn't be connected in some way with how obsessed she is with John Kramer. So, I mean, like, I would, there's still so many stories that they can tell that just completely reboots it without the necessity of John Kramer. Like, it is a cult. It's a cult. Like, I feel like that's established at this point. So, we can branch off from John Kramer. Like, it's kind of like with Marvel and Iron Man, like trying to like farm stories off of him without being gone. Like some of these people are okay being gone.
Yep.
Like they can live in memory because that's the thing. He is like basically the Messiah. Everyone follows his word blindly, like what his tests are, but don't actually do the right thing because Tobin Bell was like, or I'm sorry, John Kramer actually was like going after horrible people, whereas like some of these other people were. Hey, you ran over this person's bicycle.
I would like them to, if they are doing a reboot, I would like them to make the bad guy actually just a bad guy. I want to see maniacal bastards. I love maniacal bastards. It fills my heart with joy to see them being maniacal bastards.
The one cop that took over in the second half of the franchise was just that. Like, he was just a sinister person going after people. But I think the idea. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you. Like, I saw him at a horror convention, and he looked just as imposing as he did in the Saw films. And I was like, I'm not gonna go meet that guy because he freaks me out.
Turns out to be like the sweetest guy ever. It's like, here,
Probably.
I have candy.
All right, let's take a look at our comments real quick here. So, CG, welcome back, man. Missed you. How's it going?
Good evening, brother.
Hello.
Devontae Huntley. So, who is Yoink? Yoink is Lukas. Lukas has been with us in the beginning, and then he's been off, and then he pops in occasionally, just like that ghost in the back of him. All right, so let's see what we got out there. So Devontae's got this. He's like, Blumhouse needs to stay away from horror forever. Exorcist was the last straw. Yes, I agree.
Was that
Exorcist? I keep forgetting about all the shit.
Was it a remake or what was it?
The
Exorcist Look at what they made.
Was horrible, horrible. They tried to throw the Evil Dead stuff in there. All right, for those that haven't seen it, this is not a spoiler, but I'm going to save you some time. What they tried to do in The Exorcist Believer was form the Avengers of different priests from different religions. So we had a priest, we had a rabbi, we had a voodoo doctor, we had all these different people come together. Yep. And in the final act, it took all of these different religions and their representatives to get rid of the two possessed demons.
How do you have a demon that is fought bound by every religion? Like, what is that?
Right? And then what do you do from there? That's something that you should build up for a part 3. Not throw that in the
Dude's
the first
actually
film.
going to come out with the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, it's going to be the Infinity Gauntlet forged in Hellfire.
Oh my god.
And then they
the Kratos blades just whoosh.
They did Regan's mom just some injustice. Like, she didn't want to do the film, and the only way that she did the film was like, hey, I'll come on, but you got to donate my salary to charities. And you could tell that, she was just kind of phoning it in. It
wasn't worth it for what they did to her.
No, she phoned it in. She was still the best actress there, phoning it in. And then what they did to her character, it's like you could have taken her character out and just not had it in there, and it wouldn't have done nothing to the story. So, absolute horrible.
Didn't they just make her like a useless book lady who knows knowledge, like every other horror movie with ghosts?
Yeah. She was
I didn't
a writer.
see the movie, and I'm pretty sure I know that.
Yeah, she became a writer, and then she became an expert. All right, so Montavius is with us. Say hey,
Montavius. Hello, my good sir.
All right, let's see what else
my
we
mouse
got
is
here.
trapped.
Let's see. All right, so CG's got in here. Oh, you're gonna be. All right, you don't need to be teasing us with your food. All right, there, buddy.
Dick. Give him a timeout. Put him in timeout.
What did I do?
You're waving your food in our face like an ass. Like a whore.
Showing the boys. Jeez.
Oh boy.
What are you having? What are you having since you showed us now?
You're in timeout, motherfucker.
What do you have for
dinner?
Stuff.
All right. So CG's got, if we do a reboot, I hope the whole timeline would be thought out from the beginning. Yes. You gotta figure this out beforehand.
Oh yeah.
Does Blumhouse do that?
I don't
Halloween?
think Blumhouse can do that.
Exorcist?
No. I don't think Blumhouse could do that. I think
Do we even need to say more?
Yeah. So yeah. And then our final comment before we move on to our next one there is Exorcist Believer basically says Catholicism means nothing, which was the main religious theme of the other movies. Now it's about unity and all the beliefs coexisting somehow. Pathetic. Yeah.
Oh.
It's a religious woke movie. Yep.
Not that we're saying that people who follow different religions shouldn't get along and be unified, but
yeah, all this unification needs to cut it out, man. I need us more divided than ever.
I want all the religious drama. I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Like the whole point of The Exorcist was the Catholic religion being the main point of the movie, like with the original movie and everything. So it doesn't make sense to do what they did unless they were like building up towards it, like an Avengers movie. But yeah, I don't know. That was a spicy comment to read there. Kind of caught me
Yeah,
off guard.
wild, absolutely wild, but not unvalid. But not, yeah.
In certain contexts, like because in real life religions, everyone should be unified. We are not definitely don't be ununified if you follow different religions than everyone else. I don't care what religion you are.
All right, I want to plant this seed for the end of our slasher topics, and maybe I'll remember to come back to it or not. But think about this, and we'll come back to it. And who would you recast John Kramer as? So you don't have to answer that now. Just let it sit in there, kind of mull around in the head. Everybody that's watching, let me know who you would recast in John Kramer's role if we get a reboot of Saw by Blumhouse. So let's talk about Scream. So Scream 7, we know that they've been going through a world of problems since the whole Melissa Barrera issue and Spyglass not wanting to pay Nev Campbell. Well, now with Scream 7, I don't know if everybody's heard, but there's been some issues behind the scenes as well there where, we have writers not getting along with Kevin Williamson's direction because they have different visions, but we're getting some casting news. Unfortunately, we don't have Courtney Cox and we don't have Patrick Dempsey cast yet, but we do have the signing on of a few characters. And for those that don't know, Scream 7 is supposed to be a 10-year time jump into the future where we're following Nev Campbell's family now. So I don't know how well that's going to work. But one of the characters that was recently brought on is Isabel May. So I don't know if anybody is familiar with her or has seen her or anything. So let me go ahead and share my screen, because when I was looking at her photos today in a non-creepy way,
no one assumed that until you said that. Like it's
now we
Lucas,
have
like,
to assume.
But look, she looks like a young Kirby.
Oh,
she does
wow,
look like a young Kirby. And she also, what has she been in?
I've seen her and stuff. Yeah, hold on.
You've seen her in
young Sheldon.
Who was she in Young Sheldon?
She was Georgie's girlfriend for like a week.
That was like which one?
Which one? But here's the thing, right? So is she potentially the daughter of Kirby in Scream 7 because of that resemblance?
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see them say, "Oh no, she's Sydney's daughter."
Yeah, that's what everybody is suspecting. But if I look at this picture here, it makes more sense to maybe have her as Kirby's daughter.
Yeah, I mean, her it would be Kirby cool to see Kirby again. That would be sick.
Yeah,
she's not dead, is she?
No, she is not. No, she's not.
Did you watch 6?
Yeah, I watched 6. I was just making sure, but like, yeah, nah. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, she is.
I'm not looking forward to 7. I'm gonna be real.
Look, we did a video on Nerdbox where we came up with 5 stories that could potentially save Scream 7 before it was announced. And one of the stories is a potential idea that they're thinking about doing. So what I would like to see is a Kirby spinoff where she is investigating the Ghostface cult across the country. So that's what we're seeing in her film. Now, that idea may be a TV series that they're talking about doing.
Oh, a new Scream TV show, you said?
Yes.
Oh my God! They could
hopefully not this time on MTV.
Well, they could connect it to the MTV show. I didn't mind the stories.
The MTV show was good. I hate MTV.
When MTV was actually MTV. But yeah, so I would love to see a TV series. I think Scream is one of the few franchises where if you had smart enough writers or studio execs, you can actually split it off with these different characters and then eventually bring it back together.
Yeah.
Man, could you imagine taking them out in one of like their own like spin-offs and then nobody knows about it? That would be interesting to explore.
I'm more hyped for the new Scary Movie than the new like Scream 7. Like
same difference at this point.
There's a strong possibility that they're getting the lead actress from 6 to play in Scary Movie, which is
Melissa Barrera. I heard. Yeah. I guess I did hear about that.
She said she wants to so bad, and knowing the Marlon or the Wayne
no,
Bros.
absolutely,
Yeah, like they would absolutely do that.
Oh yeah.
Here's my issue. I've become very fondly attached to the core four. Like I genuinely like
Yeah,
5 and
no,
6. I thought
dude. Like I was blown away by how
like
how much actual
seeing
chemistry
their
they had.
chemistry on screen makes me like look at the original 4, or I guess you could say the original 3, because we lost Randy in 2.
Mhm.
But like the original 3 didn't have the same chemistry, and 2 of them were married to each other. So like it's crazy. Like I don't know. And the reason for the firing was kind of dumb. So like I ideally would have liked to have seen them return in some fashion. Like at least would have getting to see Melissa play a villain. I think that's what they were building up towards, and I would have very much loved to have seen that. So I'm gonna watch 7 because I've seen every other movie and the TV show. So I might as well watch it, but I'm not really looking forward to it.
If it's gonna be something where it's gonna be like a reach to believe it, I don't know if I can sit through the whole movie, because like it was hard enough sitting through, and I ended up like watching it more and liking it, but like it was hard enough sitting through 5 because it was just like I understand. Yeah, I know. I didn't like 5 at first for some reason, but it grew on me. I like it now, mainly because of Jack Quaid. I love that guy. Oh, he's my favorite Superman voice actor ever now.
Well, our second announcement, and I'll have one of our commenters give us the third announcement, was Celeste O'Connor. So she was also announced from it. So she's been in Freaky and some other films. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing her in another film. She was also in the Ghostbusters reboot. So good actor there. But this is where it's going to get interesting, right? So CG is going to give us the announcement. So they added actor Asa German, and he looks like the next killer. So I don't know if you
That's
guys
gotta
are
be
familiar.
Jermaine.
Never seen him.
All right. Well, we're going to take a look at him, and you're going to think a couple of things here. So we're going to look at one picture real quick where it looks like he could be potentially the sibling of somebody. So let's take a look at that. So if I look at this screen here, I'm thinking he looks like Ethan and Richie.
Oh, wait a minute. I know him. He was in
like Ethan and
he
Richie a
was in
little bit.
Generation V, the spin-off series for the boys. He's
Yes,
definitely
you're
gonna be
right.
the killer. Oh, for
Yep.
sure he's gonna be the killer.
All
No,
right. All right. So
serial eater, guys. Serial eater.
My
Come
bad.
on.
here is the damning evidence. So let's get this here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, maybe not. Maybe. Let me see if this
I
is
need
the
to get
right
that boot
one.
button.
Look at that. Who does he look like?
Yeah.
He looks like he's related to Stu. Is this an offspring of Stu's sister, Vincent's younger brother?
Honestly, I'm just waiting for this movie to fail to see them start throwing money at the core four again.
Oh my god. Yeah, if it does fail, that's what I think is going to happen. Is they're going to
start
back the
throwing
dump
numbers
truck up.
You
Oh yeah.
They have a lot of potential to like combine stories, but it doesn't that they don't want to do that. I would say that more closely resembles Richie and Ethan, but they never established that there was another sibling. And honestly, that would just be redundant at that point. Stu, maybe. It really depends on how they style his hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
So
he's tall. He is tall.
That guy's tall too. That guy's
I haven't
almost 6
seen him
foot.
in anything. Oh, really?
I'm talking about. I'm talking about him. No, I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I
Masa.
thought you were talking about. No, I was talking about German.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's pretty tall.
All right. Yeah, he looks like he can definitely be the next killer. He's got killer written all over him.
It just
Serial eater.
Serial eater. Yep.
I've been playing too much Dead by Daylight. I can't say it.
Unaliver.
Unalived by Dusk Dawn. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, the cursing's good. Bro. It's the unaliving that we can't say, or we get demonetized. So yeah, he definitely looks like the next slasher there that's going to be out there. So I'm thinking since Scream 5 and 6 were the biggest money makers in the franchise, I think just behind Part 1. If it does bad, then yeah, people are going to hear it and they're going to be throwing money at the core 4 to come back. I just don't like the 10-year time jump. I don't like it at all. I think
I don't
that
think
kind of
anybody does.
ruins it a
I'm gonna
little
be
bit.
real. It just seems unnecessary.
It makes it difficult to like continue certain storylines. Because what? So you're gonna have. So when is this Kirby show taking place then? And if they decide to do other movies that have different characters in them, when are they taking place? And I'm pretty sure Nev Campbell said she didn't want to come back for more movies. So how many movies is she actually going to be in after this one? So this just seems like a Scream 7 seems like a throwaway movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's
three
not
has three actually has actual potential. This one doesn't sound like it has any, other than its cast.
They keep dropping the ball with part 3. Like they keep having the opportunities to make 3 one of the most important films in the franchise by referencing it in these latest films, and they just keep dropping the ball. So 2 weeks ago, no, about a month ago, we dropped a popcorn theory about Angelina Tyler from part 3 being alive and her being the linchpin that pulls the entire franchise together. Not only with the original characters, but with the core 4 as well, because she would be Christina Carpenter.
How was she taken out in 3?
How was she taken out in 3? She was stabbed in the shoulder and dragged off screen.
Oh, when we saw the camera angle going down the stairwell?
Yep. And then in all the post-production materials that were released, she is listed as being a survivor. So she is still alive in the universe. So...
Yeah, because we still don't know who Christina Carpenter is.
We're going to cultify you.
Exactly. We don't know who Christina Carpenter is. What the original story for Scream 7 was supposed to be was Christina Carpenter was going to team up with Leslie Mocker, and they were going to have their unaliving sprees in 2 different states. So Leslie would be going after Sydney, and then Christina would be going after her daughters, or vice versa. And then Kirby was going to be the one that ties everything together and brings everybody into one spot.
I would love that. But doesn't Christina Carpenter need a tie to Stu? How does Christina from Scream 3 have a tie into 2? How does she have a tie into, or not Stu, to Billy? How does she have a tie in with Billy? Because they're Billy, because at least, Sam, I think her name is the daughter of Billy. So whoever Christina.
So the reveal, and this came to me from Critical Overlord. We were side chatting about that and exchanging some information. So the reveal was that Christina was going to reveal that she was a third accomplice during the original Unalivings, where she was around when Roman came there, and she was Billy's girlfriend. And then Roman and Billy came up with a plot where Billy's like, all right, well, we're going to sort of break up. So I'm going to get close to Maureen Prescott by dating Sydney. And then Billy kind of got off on teasing Christina Carpenter about the whole situation. It's like, hey, I'm with Sydney, but, we're kind of together and stuff like that, too. So that was all going to play out in the original part 7.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
sounds like it would have been a very long movie.
Sounds confusing as heck.
That's the whole point of this franchise.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I guess so. So let's see here. Let's see in our comments. So we got Devontae. They should have done a prequel before the original. Who's going to be doing after Sydney this time? Like, for Christ's sakes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to care about a new main character after this. Like, I liked Sam and Tara, and
Never.
I like as like the final girls. The core 4 was great, but Sam and Tara as like the main girls, I
think that's actually what this 7 is gonna have a bigger issue, is just making people care about the new characters, because they've already done this with
and also
5 and 6.
Start caring about Sydney as much again, because like we're getting a 10-year time gap, and I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, after watching the core 4 in action, I don't really care as much about the original 3. And to be fair, well, I mean, first off, Dewey, I love you, Dewey, always. He should have been a part of the core 5. Fantastic 5.
I will tell you this. So this is the one thing that I love about the Nerdbox community on Facebook and on YouTube. Everybody, even if they have differing opinions, nobody attacks each other. Everybody stays nice and cordial with each other. And I will tell you, when it comes to the franchise of Scream, it's split. People want core 4. People want Sydney back. And, they're not afraid to say, look, I don't care about either side of it. So I guess we'll see how it plays out in the box office. That's what's going to determine everything.
All I can say is that unless Gale gets outed as the big bad of this cult, I don't give a shit what happens to her character unless it's death. Because she's so annoying. You can't tell me that she survives 6 and then it's like, oh, yeah, she's definitely not in on it. Like she's been supremely fucked up. Like I know Dewey has been too, but he's just a resilient lad. And isn't he supposed to be making a return or something? Like hasn't that been like rumored?
No. So Courtney Cox wants to find a way to bring him back. So
they cross over with the Reanimator.
They need to avoid turning this franchise into Halloween. And how crazy would that be? Because they paid so much homage to it in the first couple of films about Halloween, and now we just turn into Halloween because now we have different timelines within the Scream universe.
Because they're doing the damn 10-year time jump, and they shouldn't kill Dewey.
I can't take it anymore.
Well, they had to take out somebody, and the emotional weight of Gale Weathers probably isn't as big as Dewey.
Oh, sorry.
As I would have cheered. I honestly would have been like, "Oh shit, they finally did it!" Woo!
Yeah,
like that would have been me in theaters. Like I would not have cared at all.
I think there was a collective groan in Scream 6 when it was like, "We got a pulse!" Like, "Oh damn it, she lived again."
Are you fucking? Well, make sure it's not there.
Now everybody groan.
Yep.
Sigh in the chat.
But that's honestly one of my main gripes when it came to that part of the film or that entire film itself is that everybody just had like these superhuman abilities. I mean, like Mason Gooding, right? He got stabbed like dozens of times and he's fine, right? And then we have Ethan.
Messed up.
Yeah, Ethan eats a knife to the throat and he gets up and he's still charging. It's like, what's going on? Like, is this Scream zombies? Like,
how much can we really, down it to like adrenaline? I don't know how much we can pop it up.
In the Scream franchise, it does appear that there are like certain people who are more resilient in the Scream franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you would just have to assume that humans in general in the Scream universe, like in the universe these movies take place in, they're humans in general are just more resilient to certain things.
Oh yeah, they are. Getting stabbed multiple times is definitely one of those. So, Montavius over at the Empty Crypt, it's a 0 point in a 10-year jump. That would make Sydney 54 years old in Scream 7. No way someone is 50 still fighting Ghostface.
Especially if they're in like our 20s and 30s. Like, how are you keeping up with that? A 20-year-old max stamina charging you with a knife, like. Dude, come on. Like, I get it. Like, there's Chuck Norris and whatnot.
People are already in their 50s, like, playing these characters. So, I mean, I guess it's not too much of a stretch, supposedly, but,
they're not
you can't really movie magic normal.
It's going to be Liam Neeson jumping over a gate in Taken 3, or a fence in Taken 3. Like, there was, 23 camera angles because it took how long for them to film that? They're portraying younger characters, but they are not younger characters.
No, I know.
Like, so while they're portraying younger characters, like, oh well, I guess you could say she's early 40s in Scream 5. That that makes sense. Like, I guess it makes sense, but also she really didn't do much in Scream 5. So, but if you're having her as the main character, somebody pushing mid-50s, going against somebody who's probably going to be in their mid-20s, it's laughable. It is.
Yeah, I don't want to see Halloween Ends and have a geezer end fest there, like the fight.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, let me throw this refrigerator on you. Come on, you're like 70. Come on, what are you doing?
The only saving grace is that they take Sydney out in this movie, and they do intend on progressing with Kirby as the main character if they decide that they don't want to bring the core 4 back.
I'm all for
that would have some. Oh my god! So could you imagine too if they did like a reveal of who Ghostface was, and it was Gale taking out Sydney in this movie? Do it! Whoever makes this movie, do it, please. Like that's something that I want to see. You ain't got the cojones.
The clues are all there for Gale. We've talked about it in our theory videos. I'm going to be coming back to that in a couple of months too, where we're going to do an FBI profile of Gale and how she ties into possibly being the mastermind of the whole thing. So yeah, definitely could be.
I would love to see like a fight where like Sydney's chasing this new white cloaked Ghostface, and then
Oh, yes.
so she chases her into an alley and then loses him or her, and then she starts getting like you start seeing like black shadows of like other Ghostface running past her and cutting her with knives, and then as like she's on the ground, like kneeling down on the ground, she just opens up to like a circle of ghost faces all surrounding her, and then Gale comes off, rips off her mask and the white robe, and then just takes her out. That's what I want to see. Bad guys can win sometimes in movies. It gives more weight to the franchise. Just saying. And
Yeah, I think that's the only way they can actually do a
intense to
Scream
watch.
7 is if the bad guys
To
won.
see not even a fight of like who's stronger is like with fists, but like in willpower, like how much can Sydney take before too many slashes are against the skin are too much. Like that would be horrible to see on screen, but such an amazing way to tell a story.
The white Ghostface,
just my personal opinion. Like, look at
the
that.
white Ghostface looks good.
Yeah,
the white Ghostface looks very good.
and with all the blood that would splatter on it too, like it would.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh my god! And then the white Ghostface doesn't take anybody out until Sydney, and then the first bloodshed on that robe is Sydney's.
Oh my god, that'd be great.
Come on, I'm laying the money down for you.
All right, so before we switch over to our next topic, which is going to be Terrifier, so we got CG out there saying, how about not revealing Ghostface? And we found out that in the next movie, and have Ghostface be the same killer for 2 movies and have a website that drops the clues for fans for them to wait for the next movie. That's they did this. So they did this for Scream 3. So Scream 3 had the website up and they were dropping little clues. So it's technically part of canon because Gail Weathers' book that she wrote about Sunrise Studio is in the case in Scream 6 or Scream 5. Oh no, Scream 6. Yep, it's in the case there. But the website was
the books from the series.
Yeah, I got to get those. But it says Sunrise Sucks. That is the website, one of the defunct websites that were out there. And it was Roman who was leaking information about Sunrise Studios and everything that was going on behind the scenes. And then there was also reports on killings that were happening. So the Ghostface killings happened before the movie actually started. There was like 3 people that were unalived. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting to see that. It would be nice to see them do that again.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to point out the well-past demonetization.
What I would like, and what Halloween tried to do and failed at doing, is I would like to see the reveal of Matthew Lillard as Stu at the end of the next film. He gets away, and then we get the tail of the tape going into Scream 8, where it's like, oh, Sydney versus Stu, and we go through the whole entire backstory of that stuff and build that all up again. I think that'd be really good.
Have like a little intro scene, like yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yep, promotional materials would be fantastic around it. All right, so we broke some news last week. It wasn't confirmed until later or a few days after we talked about it. But Terrifier 3 is definitely coming back to theaters on December 24th. And it does have an extra 14 minutes. Unfortunately, it's not the extended cut. So these extra 14 minutes, essentially what it's going to be is going to be an intro by Damien Leone. And then they're going to do a sneak peek of the Terrifier 3 documentary that was made. It's called Art Attacks.
Ooh.
Yep.
That sounds pretty cool, though.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Noah, myself, and Marcus, we had talked about maybe even doing a documentary before they started filming Terrifier 3. It's just all of our plates were just... Yep. All of our plates were too full, so we never got around to pitching the idea to anybody saying, hey, let's make a documentary for you. We'll do interviews. We'll do the whole entire story. Since we're the only channel that celebrated Art turning 15 last year, since we are the unofficial Terrifier channel on YouTube.
Yes.
So I'm excited. I do want to break with tradition. I want to go to the theaters on Christmas Eve to see Terrifier 3.
Yeah. That would be fire. That would be awesome. It would give me a chance to see it in theaters. Pretty great. Unfortunately, I missed it.
Yeah. Did anyone else have a lag spike, or was that just me?
About time that you.
Well, it's probably just you.
That's just you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean it.
He's having internet problems. He's gonna.
He's
Go ahead.
dipping out.
Go ahead, Lucas. We'll
He's
wait for you to
leaving.
come
He's
back.
leaving us. He's leaving us all on our own. No, yeah, no. I mean, I've really wanted to see Terrifier in theaters. Obviously, I just couldn't find the time. So, I mean, this is a good opportunity, specifically for anybody else who didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. If you're pirating it right now,
Yeah,
stop.
now they're well, it's available for digital release now, so you can watch it at home.
This is true.
And then the Blu-ray and the 4K is going to be dropping very soon as well. So let's see here. The box office, I think it's nearing 100 million. Yeah, let me share that screen real quick and show you.
Wild.
So we're at
Oh, wow.
$89 million.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
bad.
that's huge.
Oh.
Yep.
He's
So I'm
going.
pretty excited to see that. All right, let's see what we got going on in the comments here.
Oh, yeah.
CG's
That would
out
be
there. They need
fantastic.
to drop the extended DVD. Yep. He owns it already on digital. Yeah, you know what? I don't think we're getting an extended release of this because every different type of box set that's coming out does not have the extended cut on it. So hopefully we'll see the deleted scenes at least.
We can hope.
All
We
right,
can-
so let's go ahead. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on one second here. We got Noah. He's coming back in. So Montavius is saying, did you guys see T2 bonus DVD from Walmart? I conducted the guest interviews for Bloody Disgusting. No, did not. No. Actually, there's so many different special features on the different releases, so I may not have seen that one. So yeah, that's pretty cool, Montavius. Awesome.
I have also not seen it.
Is that he means Terrifier 2, right? I'm not
Yes.
thinking
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
Terrifier 2.
Okay.
You were, yeah, it's Terrifier 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Terrifier
saw
2, the
T2 and
new
I got
T2.
excited. I was like, "Are we talking about it? Are we finally doing it?"
All right, so let's go on here. Let's talk about the next piece of news that's out there, and that is in regards to Thanksgiving. So I know you saw Thanksgiving. Lucas, did you ever get around to watching Thanksgiving when it came out last year?
I don't think so. No.
It is or was on Netflix.
Oh, it definitely it's definitely
still on Netflix. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
so
haven't
Eli Roth met up with the IndieWire magazine, and he was talking about how filming is going to start in March, and they're going to be aggressive, and they're going to get it out in the same time frame as the last one, so it'll be dropping in October of next year. And one of the things that he said is that, hey, while they have a bigger budget, that doesn't mean that they're going to fully use that budget for the effects and the scenes that they're going to use. They're going to go bigger and badder, but they want to do it on the same type of money crunch that they had for the first time going around. So what's your thoughts on that? You know, you have a bigger budget, but you're not going to go all in on using that budget for more effects and better kills.
I guess it depends on what they're talking about when they say like
Yeah.
they're not going to.
What do they mean that they're utilizing the budget for? Like, because they are using the whole budget. Yes, they're just.
I would imagine
they're budgeting it the same way that they did for last movie, as if they had less.
Mhm.
So for each category of things like camera, it's like different equipment for this film, different stuff that they need for each scene, like writers and stuff like that. So it depends on where they're delegating this budget, and that's that. So I it's concerning that they're like saying this, but at the same time, I think it's their way of saying that, like, hey, we're working on it as if we're still filming the first movie, and the first movie did very well, and they had a tighter budget for the first one. So maybe they're just saying that to kind of put us at ease that we're gonna have something like similar to the first one, even though they do have more money. So like they're saying that even though like the studios are getting involved with bigger productions, bigger production budgets, that we're still gonna get something along the realms of the first one. So if that's the case, because it's just assumptions. It's just assumptions. So if that's the case, then like if they're saying that we're going to be getting like something along the lines of what we got with the first one, then I'm fine with that, because I like the first one, as long as like it's not verbatim the same thing, you know, because and it can't be, because we know who the like who it is. They revealed who Carver is, or whatever the name was. They revealed who it was, and now I'm just
Mhm.
excited to see how they're gonna continue that. So I'm not like overly concerned. Not as concerned as Blumhouse taking over Lionsgate films, and that's sad.
Yep.
I don't know. I liked Nope. Is that the same one?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Blumhouse
Jordan
didn't
Peele
make
made that movie. I don't know if Blumhouse did that.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I
I
mean,
liked it because it wasn't Blumhouse.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Let me tell you. So I think we've seen from Damien Leone with Godzilla -1 that the budgets really can be utilized for better
Yeah.
things,
Yes.
and you can still get a quality film that's out there. My question to both of you and everybody that's watching is, do we get a direct sequel where we pick up right after the events of the first film? Because, like you said, we know who the antagonist is under the mask. He escaped, and then he's out there running around. Or do we return 1 year later, Thanksgiving again, or do we move to a different holiday? Now, I can think that a lot of people may not want to go to a different holiday because then they'll feel like they're copying after Terrifier 3, but I think we can do it. I think we can possibly move to another holiday.
What holiday did you have in mind?
St. Patrick's Day.
A lot of parades
Well,
for St. Patrick's Day, though, so that's fair. And people do
Mhm.
have like set meals. Technically, where you have your chuck roast and your cabbage and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's not outlandish, but I don't know if I want to see someone dressed up as a bright green leprechaun.
I would love that. I love the Leprechaun movies.
You
Those are
like
my
the
favorite.
yeah,
Those are my
you like the
favorite
Leprechaun
horror
movies.
movies ever.
I hate the
love them.
Leprechaun movies. I only watched the first one, and I won't watch it again.
I can't wait to watch Back to the Hood this April 1st again. Like, that's gonna be awesome.
So dumb.
Well, yeah,
What
if you
holidays
want to
do you
keep
have in mind?
parades, well, you could do Christmas, right? I don't know how well it'll work for New Year's Eve, but St. Patrick's is a good one because they do have parades there. So I don't
So
know.
my question
People
about
wear like the masquerade masks for New Year's Eve sometimes, but you'd be able to tell who is under it. Like, I'm sorry, like it's
Mhm.
not Clark Kent with the spit curl and the
I don't
glasses.
know. If they were to go like a New Year's Eve route, I could see that being a really interesting idea, like having everything revolve around the bell dropping or like the ball dropping, whatever.
That
and
would
like
that
have
would
it
mean that
literally
everything would
be-
have to revolve around being on New Year's Day, because Thanksgiving took place over like the span of a week, I would say. So New Year's Eve would have to take place, and I would assume Times Square, and then
Yeah.
you would just
That's what
have
I'm
these
saying,
events
like,
taking
show that-
place
show that
throughout the
this
ball, like
killer-
before the ball drops.
or show that this unaliver is as like getting
Hey,
more
we're past
ambitious
it.
and
Like,
wants
it's gone.
to do more. Like,
Mhm.
because I haven't seen the movie as you guys know, but if it took the span over a couple of weeks, and I'm assuming this unaliver is not exactly the best of people, so I'm assuming he probably wants to do bigger and much worse things.
Watch the
So
movie, because
having
even wearing a mask, you'll know who this person is. I promise you. Like, watch the
Hey,
movie.
hey,
honestly.
hey there, buddy there. No, let me
It's not
tell
a
you
spoiler.
something.
It is not a spoiler.
You can't even
Zip it. Zip. I can't. When a problem comes along, you must zip it. Zip it good.
Let him talk,
Not a
my
spoiler.
man. Let
not a
Lukas
spoiler.
talk. Let him talk.
Not a spoiler.
Oh. All right. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Let's
I think it would be cool. Is all I mean.
All right, so we got CG saying that Thanksgiving was okay. Eli Roth, not my fave, but the kills were GD, and I enjoyed the whodunit aspect. You know what? Eli Roth, I think, is a little bit overrated. He came out big on the scene with Cabin Fever and Hostel, and then there were several other movies that came out that were lackluster. And then you just see his face all over the place, and I'm like, I'm just tired of seeing Eli Roth. It's just like I want to move on from this guy already. And then he comes out with
I thought you
Thanksgiving.
like Thanksgiving. Yeah,
I do like Thanksgiving, as I said, and then he comes out with Thanksgiving.
Makes me
Let's
glad
see
that I haven't
here.
seen what this guy looks like.
Yeah. It would have to be a time jump to the next Thanksgiving or a time jump. The movie is called Thanksgiving after all. Yeah, this is true.
I mean, as long as they keep the as long as they keep the themes in place, I think everything should be. If they did want to go the route of doing like other holidays and whatnot, I think that if they were to call it New Year's Eve and be like and have like a little subtitle like sequel of Thanksgiving or whatever the hell, like I think that would be. I think that's not too much of a stretch for for audiences.
But then you get Glass Onion all over again.
Then you get Glass Onion, yeah, you do, yeah.
I mean, like you could have the same slasher go throughout different holidays, but I wouldn't call it Thanksgiving too.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd have to. That would be a situation where you'd Glass Onion it, yeah.
All right, let's talk about our second to last bit of news here for slasher stuff, and that's Diced. So this was the Scarecrow slasher film that dropped last October. The character of Benjamin that we're seeing right there is played by Jason Brooks, who is an actor, stuntman, director. He has done the Friday the 13th fan films on YouTube. Go check them out. It is Bloodlines. Fantastic films that are out there, definitely in the spirit of the Friday the 13th franchise. But Diced here. So the first one that came out, it came out in 23. We have a link in the description for an interview with Jeremy Rudd, who is the director of it, and Jason Brooks himself talking about the film. It was around an hour, and watching that, I always felt that, hey, I really needed to see the feature length of that film because you could tell that there was things that were kind of pulled out from that film that really needed to be explored in it. And I know there's a lot of people that compare this character to Art the Clown, just like they do with Jester to Art the Clown. But I didn't pick up on the Art the Clown as much as some of the scenes kind of portrayed that. I picked up more of the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz with the way Jason Brooks was performing this character. So what we're gonna get is, we have epic features that's picked up the film. They're going to expand the first one, re-release that one, and then we're going to get a sequel of that. So pretty interesting.
Is this like
allow me to be a
right?
bit of a hater real quick.
All right, go ahead, Lucas. Be your hater self.
I'm so not into the costume design for the Scarecrow.
Really?
I'm so not into it. I personally, and this is nothing against the filmmaker because obviously it's very hard to make films and it takes a long ass time, but it does look like it's trying to reminisce a killer clown, and it does look like it's trying to hop on the trend of killer clowns in recent media. Yeah, I know it is a Scarecrow, but it looks very clownish. That would just be my thing. And again, nothing against the filmmaker, nothing against the film. I know it's very hard to make movies, and I know it's, if you have a design, you set it. I just wouldn't have gone with it. That's just me.
No,
oh no!
Wow.
He really likes this one, I can tell.
I'll listen. We'll see how the second one goes. That is all I will say.
All right.
I don't know what's gonna change because it is still the same director. Yes.
Yes.
Like same person writing the story. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what changes. Like I assume that. So I mean, the biggest issues with the movie itself for me were not the story itself. It was the audio and video editing. Because I don't know if you saw the movie, Lucas, but like there were a lot of issues that they had with like aspect ratios and color distortion.
Oh, so they did in Eternals? So because like how in Eternals, the Marvel movie where they would just constantly switch aspect ratios with no like rhyme or reason.
This is much more extreme because it's almost like they ballooned out like a video in Adobe Premiere without meaning to. Like so, it's on Tubi for free. Go watch it. Like it had like the series has.
This isn't like a big production, is it? Or
no,
is
it was the first one was independent. But
okay.
It has a lot of potential, but I'm hoping that with an actual crew on it, that's not like whoever was working on the video and audio editing last time, that it has a much better shot of being watchable.
Being like,
because that was a big thing for me. Like watching that it was just so hard to watch. Like seeing that stuff, it's like it's so hard to get invested into the movie when it can't feel consistent per scene. Like you go from shot to shot, and then it's changing the color of the shot itself, or how far in it's zoomed. That like it had its problems that it was making it hard for me to flow into each scene.
I
So
mean,
that-
if it was if it was like a
Go ahead.
design choice or something, like
Yeah.
I'd get it then. But like from how you're describing it, doesn't really sound like a choice. More of like this is kind of just how it turned out.
It's like they overlooked it in post.
Okay.
Well, I know with the movie coming out, there was a mad dash to get it up and out on releasing, streaming, because when it released on streaming, there was some issues in the credits and at the end that had to be fixed, and then it had to be re-released on Prime. But so yeah, and no, to your point, like I think what happens is like when you get to a certain point when you're doing videos or you're in film and stuff like that, not only are you watching it from a fan perspective now, you're actually watching it from the perspective of being a filmmaker and having worked on film. So you actually start to see these little things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, for me, like editing video for the last almost 4 years, like I can't watch paranormal videos now without seeing all the little where they have the cuts in there and where they're adding special effects and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I know that sound clip because I used that sound clip in a video. It's like you can't say it's a ghost. So it kind of just ruins some of that stuff that you tend to watch in the past. And Lucas, I'm sure the same thing with you being a musician and stuff like that too.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
things that you're hearing from other artists that it's like, why'd you
Dude.
make that choice and so
Yeah,
forth.
if I could be a nerd for a second, you would not believe how many artists use the exact same 4/4 signature in every single song that they put out, and it's absolutely nuts. Once you hear
Are you
it,
talking about the
it's
4
there
chords?
forever. No. So 4/4 is like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5
Yeah.
4 times, So it's like it's just like you hear it a lot in like every song because it's a very easy time signature. But it you can do more that and to the extent of like where like I hear it and like I can see where this could go somewhere better, but obviously it doesn't always play out like that.
Alright, so for
CG had a
those-
comment saying that like he's glad that people had faith in this movie.
Oh yes.
To answer, like, to respond to that, I will say I also have my issues with the story itself, but I think that the sequel really needs to focus on the backstory of the mom and the antagonist, because that is a lot that was left out in the last film. It has a lot of potential as a story itself, but it's just none of it was addressed until like right at the end, and it didn't really make sense. So if it can be addressed better, and I heard that they're re-releasing the first one, or they already did, and it's extended with more clips and
No,
whatnot.
they haven't done it yet.
So
They're going to be
Okay.
re-releasing it, adding some stuff to it.
Okay, yeah. So that I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be clearing some stuff up. So, but it definitely has potential. The story itself has potential. It just needs more than what it holds. Is the problem? Is at least is what I noticed with it.
Yep. And as you can see there, Montavius from the Empty Crypt is calling out that there's going to be open casting calls dropping soon. So what you want to do is go and find Diced on Facebook and follow them to make sure that if you're interested in being in a film, you might have your opportunity to be in that one. All I'm saying,
Yeah, maybe we
Jeremy,
should all
if
give
you're
it a shot.
watching this,
See, now
Yeah.
I can't do it because I just badmouth their costume design.
They'll put you in as one of the victims.
yeah, right in the first.
Good.
But
I'm
so,
down.
Jeremy, if you're watching this, remember Nerdbox, your first interview for that film, along with Jason Brooks to talk about that film. So, if you don't put us in, at least give us a little shout out somewhere. Maybe have us running in the background with your interview playing. That would be pretty interesting.
That would be funny. That would be actually really funny.
All right. Oh, look at this. Look, I gotta take a look at this comment here. I can fill you guys in after the live show if you wanna. Yes.
Ooh,
Montavius,
guys,
you
we're
have-
learning things that you're not allowed to know about watching. Haha.
This is the perfect segue to what we're going to talk about. So, Montavius, you can jump on once we're done here and we can talk about that. But we're gonna come back to our last bit of slasher news, and it is an exclusive news break here. I'm gonna have to go and reach out to Bloody Disgusting to get them to watch this time frame here. But we met up with Angela Goethals and Nathan Basil for a good part of
Indeed.
6 hours yesterday, and we were talking about one of my favorite slasher films that's out there, and that is something that when you go to look up Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, you see that it shows up in the 10 best horror satire movies, the top 5 Robert Englund roles, the 30 best 2000 films that's out there. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon first got a sequel prequel in comic book form called Before the Mask, the Return of Leslie Vernon. And I can tell you right now that the script for the sequel to Behind the Mask has been written, and it has been sent over to director Scott Glosserman, who directed the first film. And I am super excited to see these characters coming back on screen.
So
haven't
I
seen
was shown this film. You really need to watch it.
I need to
It's a
watch
great
it.
film. You really need to watch
I
it.
keep hearing
So
such awesome things about it, and I really,
yeah,
really
it's
want
because
to.
it's fucking good. That's why you keep
I'm
hearing good things about it.
I'm trying.
Try harder. Try harder. I first saw this
This
film. I don't even know how long ago. 2017, I think. I
Mhm.
was 17, so it was 2019. It was 2019 when I watched this. This is the first horror, other than Friday the 13th. I can like surely say that this is the first like horror movie that I became like hooked to. Because like even like The Thing, which is in my top 5 horror films, and like other movies that are in my top 5, I did not instantly become hooked to this film. To those films, but watching Behind the Mask, like, I instantly fell in love with the idea behind it, and I like and watching it now from like the perspective of like wanting to make my own films and truly watching the emotion of these characters on screen and seeing the transition from like the beginning aspect of the story, and then when the first unalive happens, and then everything after that, it is truly just an amazing transition of emotion from everybody. So I really
Mhm.
love that. Like I just really love that film all around. Like it was fantastic. So to hear it in my own 2 ears that the script has been sent for the sequel to Scott Glosserman, very, very excited.
Yes. The movie was ahead of its time. Like Scream 4 was very far ahead of its time too. So it was meta based. It's probably and how Taylor Gentry, who is played by Angela, who was in Home Alone, uh like what I like to say about her final girl character is that she is the bridge between going from Laurie Strode and Jamie Lee characters type of final girls to the Sydney Prescott type of final girls. She is the perfect bridge bringing those two different eras of final girls together because of how her character transitions throughout the entire film. But being ahead of its time, like I said, we start off the first half of that movie as a found footage film style. It's a mockumentary that started. And then
And
once
kind of a
things
comedy.
switch over, yeah, once things switch over and things get legit, we go into full movie mode. Like the mockumentary ends and then the regular film begins. So the styles that are delivered in that movie are fantastic, and oh, it's just amazing.
Word. I'm gonna have to check it out. I
So,
really do.
so CG is there saying, I never saw it on my radar. Oh, it's on my radar now. So, CG, I was working at Blockbuster at the time, and this is one of those movies when I was working, and no one knows this. I would go to work for one job at 6 in the morning. I come back, I have an hour break, and then I go to work till midnight or 1 o'clock. I rented this movie because it looked interesting. I came home, flipped it on at 1 o'clock in the morning. I fell asleep on it, but like he says, he was hooked on it. I woke up. It's like, oh my god, I got to rewind the movie now. So I had to rewind the movie so that I can go back and finish the movie. And I was tired, but the movie was that good. And this is one of those movies where I would recommend to customers after getting a feel for what they like. But this is one of those customer movies that I can recommend to all horror fans. And over the time since this movie's been out, which is coming up on 20 years, I've only had two people come back and say, "Nah, I didn't really care for it." And I've recommended it to a lot of people, not only working at Blockbuster, but since my time then. So CG, find it. Shoot me a message on Facebook if you can't find it. I'll let you know where it's playing at. But definitely worth watching.
Check it out on the Just Watch app. Just download the Just Watch app. We're not sponsored, but we like the app.
But we want to be.
Yeah, I don't need to be sponsored by them to promote them. The Just Watch app I've been using for a long time, and that tells me where everything is. Yeah.
I actually just showed some. I showed damn, who did? I showed somebody yesterday at the convention. I don't think I showed Angela, but I showed somebody at Angela's table the Just Watch app and how they could. Oh yeah, so I could show them how they could find Behind the Mask. I used to show them how to find it. So yeah, it's a great app. Definitely download it. Great movie as well. We should watch it. Just watch it.
All right, we're coming back to that question I had for both of you. So, if we're recasting Tobin Bell in a Saw reboot, who are you going with? So here's what we got in the comments. So we got Christopher Walken. Is Christopher Walken older?
Well, he's older, isn't he?
I wanna play a game.
I want to play a game, and only you can make it happen.
We got another great one here. Willem Dafoe, another old guy up there.
That would be pretty fire. I don't think he would do it though.
Dafoe in any character, him in any role is fantastic. Him as the Joker would be fantastic. Him as Freddy Krueger be fantastic.
We still have time. We still have time for him to be the Joker. We still have time. It is not sure whether or not Barry Keoghan's Joker is going to be the main Joker. So
yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know if he'd do it. I just that's my thing. Like he's done a lot of really weird projects, but I don't know if he's ever done like full on horror other than now Nosferatu that's coming out. Or at least I think he's done a horror movie or two before, right?
He's done a couple.
Yeah, he's done
nothing like nothing like a slasher
like
film, like
gory.
Slasher antagonist. No, I would say he's probably on gory films. I'm saying like in the realm of what John Kramer is, I don't think I've personally seen him in anything like that.
Yeah.
But knowing what he puts on the performances that he puts on, I'm not really concerned about it. Like I think he can do. Like I think Dave is right. I think that if like push comes to shove, he could definitely do it. He would not be my first choice. I have a first choice in mind, but he's not my first choice. But he can definitely be in the roster of people who can do it.
Go ahead. Who is it?
True.
Oh, mine. Do we have any more comments before I say?
Nope, we're ready to go. Go ahead.
All right, so this one's it might sound unorthodox, but he's got the voice and he does have the on-screen performance. Like he can just do it. Ben Mendelsohn. For those of you who do not know, he is a very good British actor. Yeah, you want to pull him up real quick? So I mean, like you've probably seen.
I know.
Stuff, but
I definitely know who you're talking about. But like,
Dave, the one thing that I really pull him up, he's in Captain Marvel. He was the main Skrull, but he can definitely do it. He has the voice, and he's 55. He's not too old. He's not the tallest in the world, but he is a great antagonist. He's very menacing on screen. I think that he'd be a very good John Kramer if they recasted.
Oh. All right. Lucas, anybody in mind from you?
Yeah, I mean that you bringing up Ben Mendelsohn is intriguing. I couldn't think of anybody, but even now, just on the spot, thinking of it more so, I'm like really leaning towards I think Gary Oldman could do a really good job if they got him to.
How old is he now?
Is it Gary Oldman or is it the guy that played Commissioner Gordon in
Oh,
yeah,
that is you're right.
Yeah. Oh my God, he would play the shit out of that role.
Also crazy that has he won an Oscar yet? I don't think so. Could definitely play the role.
I think he's won at least 2.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just look at that face. He looks like such a cool old guy. Like, come on.
I gotta say that's great too, because even if he doesn't have the voice on his own, he can make one.
Yeah, he's very, very. He's more. I think he's a classically trained actor. He's worked in so many voice acting roles as well. He's just absolutely fantastic. And I think he'd hit all points because I think he'd really love to do a role like this as well because he seems to be really in his I want to play evil bad guys now.
So let's see. Gary Oldman is 66. Ben Mendelsohn is 55. So I'm going to one up you both with going with an actor who is 48. And
44.
yep. And once you see him, you may like, oh yeah.
Okay.
Cillian Murphy.
Oh, okay.
No.
I
thought
yeah, I
about
know.
it. No.
I hate to be like the bearer of like not good reaction to that, but like I don't know. That's
What?
like I think he would do good in the role, but I don't think the role would do good for him in
What?
that aspect.
Let me tell you something. What role is doing good for him? Hardly anything. Like this
He should
guy
have been
is
Dr. Doom.
brilliant. He's a brilliant actor, and he gets hardly anything. He gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think they've been talking. I think they want him to play Voldemort in the new Harry Potter series, which is really cool, and
not
I'm
gonna watch
very
it, so,
excited.
but
I'm so
I-
excited for it.
I at one point did think Cillian Murphy, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't know.
Well, not
It all
only
depends on if they're still if they're changing the character, because if they still go the
We're talking
old
about
guy with
recasting.
cancer route, well, I know, but like,
He could be middle-aged with cancer.
well, yeah, but like if they're still going like the
Discriminate.
old guy, he doesn't have that much time left in general, but also now he's got cancer. I mean, that's
Well,
I don't know.
I mean,
This
they never
movie-
really explored his age. Like he was older, yes, but he was also having a kid in one of the movies. Like they showed that Tobin Bell was going to be having a kid. So I mean, there was never really a worry of him running out of time based on old age. It was mainly just the cancer that people were like, oh, that's taking him out, and a lot of people did him dirty, and that's why he's going after certain people because of it. So I don't think that age, like, yes, we don't want to see a 20-year-old John Kramer. I think a 48-year-old one is fine.
You know, actually,
Watch this movie Red Eye. He plays a villain in it, not as psychotic as he was as the Scarecrow, but watch this movie, and then I think you'll enjoy
I think
seeing
I've
him.
seen
in that
Red
role.
Eye. I definitely remember seeing the poster for it at least, but I think I've seen it. You know who I actually looked past because now that I said Voldemort, I think Ralph Fiennes would be great as John Kramer.
Who's that?
Ralph
Fiennes,
So,
the guy
I
that
think
played Voldemort originally.
You know what? That may be right there. So let me
He looks
find
like a slightly younger version of him a little bit.
One more thing about Cillian Murphy. Oh, I've seen him in other stuff.
A little bit of a
one more
Harry Potter situation.
One more thing about Cillian Murphy is if he were to play John Kramer, he would have to only take parts of what Tobin Bell put into that role and then make it his own. With Gary Oldman and Ben Mendelsohn, I think that they could probably do a little bit of their own twist while still making it what we're used to with John Kramer. But I think that Cillian Murphy, based on what I've seen him in, has to do something on his own with just small little bits of the original John Kramer. But that's it.
Here's my question though: in the ways of recasting, if that's what we're thinking of, would it be like setting it up for like a prequel to the Saw, or like would it be like
no?
just a
We're talking
completely new
about
time?
a completely rebooting the series.
Okay.
Like a complete remake. Part
Okay, well
one.
then that I get, yeah, because like I was thinking like, oh, recasting, like, oh, you mean for like the next Saw? Okay, but like, nah. Now that
This would be Saw 1, basically.
If Cillian Murphy were to play John Kramer as like at the start of his career, I could see him going on for a good long while and it being really good. Just because Cillian Murphy is, quite frankly, that guy.
All right.
But
not that guy, but
no, he definitely is that guy. That guy can act
he
circles
definitely
around
can be that
most
guy, yeah.
people, which is absolutely nuts. I think I watched him in Oppenheimer, and he like even as like the hero of that story, he's scary. He's a scary dude. He's just got that like oh, I've seen 1,000 years of knowledge, and now I'm about to impart it to you through your eyes. Look.
So we have CG's dropped in a bunch of suggestions. And we'll end up wrapping up with Devontae's comments. So David Caruso. Another old guy, though. We're talking 60s here. This is an interesting one. Edward Norton.
Edward Norton is funny, I think
No.
that would be so fun to watch. If they were to do like a Saw
It'd be
like
fun to
sort
watch
of
as a
movie,
parody.
I think. Yeah.
This one would be fantastic, but I think he's close to retiring. Bryan Cranston.
Oh, actually, yeah.
That's
That
perfect.
would be great. Yeah.
I
If
remember.
anybody could do it, it could definitely be Bryan Cranston. If anyone has shown what they can do, it is Bryan Cranston.
I think Bryan Cranston needs to
Malcolm in the
start
Middle,
doing more horror
Breaking
movies.
Bad.
I don't think
Yep.
he's ever has he done horror? He's done horror movies before, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Let me
Pretty
take a
sure.
look here real quick.
Nothing I've seen, I'm guaranteed, but like I definitely remember him being like in a trailer for a horror movie at least once or twice.
Some movie in 2000 called Terror Tract. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
the horror movie that popped up.
if this would be his first leap into like horror and like I guess like gore films, it would I could see him doing well, though it might be out of his range. I don't know.
Yeah, but they said that when
Alright.
they casted him for Breaking Bad.
This is true. This is true. You know, he only played white suburban dads for a long time, and then now he's a drug dealer.
He's got range. He's great. Another one
Yeah.
that's highly overlooked. So Devontae will take us out. Saw about to end. Let them make this 11 and then end it there. No more need to continue this franchise, even reboot from or a form. So what more can they do? That's true. But you know what? Hollywood doesn't care. They just want to make
Yeah.
money. So they don't
Hollywood
care.
doesn't care, and neither do I. I love
We
Saw.
can't we can't talk about a scenario of ending off a franchise when big production companies are involved and they see dollar signs.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, exactly.
And again, I love Saw. I will buy it even if I don't like it. I love Saw.
Now, see,
doesn't make
me when
sense
it
to me.
comes to remakes, reboots, reimaginings, if the technology has advanced far enough where you can remake a movie and you can tell the story better with the current technology that you have, then go and do it. The Thing, Fly, Hills Have Eyes, uh, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark are all perfect examples of using modern day technology to make an original story that came out a decade before, a few decades before.
I always forget that The Thing was actually a remake. Like the John Carpenter's The
Mhm.
Thing is a remake.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So let's cross over to our second piece of news. So now we're getting into the zombies part. So recently, Danny Boyle had released the poster and a cryptic teaser for 28 years later. This is a pretty badass poster.
No way.
That's a really
Yep.
cool poster. And you know,
Like
we're
as,
like
as
we're
in
only
a
like
sequel to
5 years
27
shy.
days later, right?
28
Yes.
days later and 28
No,
weeks later.
is it
You know,
28? Oh,
It
never
was
mind.
28 days and then 28 weeks.
Yep.
Okay. Word.
You know, I will say we're like 5 years shy of of it being 28 years since the original release. They could have just waited. Like it would have been so cool if they had just waited.
Well, so this is the first of two parts. So it's 28 years later, part one, and then there's going to be a part two. So they also released a teaser trailer. And, Noah and I were talking about this because every time we show teaser trailers, YouTube gets all pissed off and they're like, oh, you know what? We're going to demonetize your video now. But so what I did is I took the teaser trailer, I dropped it into Adobe Premiere. And for those that are familiar with Adobe Premiere, yes, my Adobe Premiere is very old. I have a copy of it. I won't tell you how I got my copy, but I have a copy of it. So this teaser trailer has Morse code. The Morse code is been deciphered as Tuesday. So they're thinking that the day Tuesday is going to be the full trailer release, and Tuesday falls on January 28th, and it also falls on October 28th. So that's pretty cool. But Nora and I were talking about this, so it's like, oh man, we gotta see what the images are. So
Yeah, it's like you can't see the clips.
yep. So we're gonna drop it here. So there's an island that's
Yep.
in this.
Ooh.
Yep. Before we get the biohazard sign, and then there's this interest. Wait a minute, what was that? Oh, there we go. So there's this interesting clip here. So I'm gonna expand my frames here so we can take a look at it. So we
The
have,
old frame by frame.
yep. So this is pretty damn cool. This clip here.
Is
So
that a scarecrow?
it looks like it. So it looks like we have a mask that somebody maybe wore back in 28 weeks later or 28 days later, from the troops and stuff like that. We have an arrow going through the head, and then that's it. And then we have this quick shot here, which I don't know what the heck that is. It's
Maybe it's
not
like
the same scene,
yeah.
right? So look, we have this, and then we click over and we have that.
Unless they're intentionally throwing off the color.
Could be, could be.
Yeah, it does look like the underside of the scarecrow. If I'm not,
I
if I'm
thought so too, but you know what? I'm thinking it's different.
If it
For all
is
we know, it
different,
could be
I
a
don't
body.
know what it is.
hmm So all we know from the teaser is that Tuesday is an important day. So I know it's probably not this Tuesday, but hey, I'm excited for this.
So those are the only two like images in the clip, like the only three images in the clips is those in that clip is that one? Okay.
Yeah, other than seeing the biohazard sign and the skull revolving around the screen and stuff like that. So yeah, this is freaking amazing. Now, I'm sure many people go back there and they think of 28 days later coming out, and that sparked the whole evolution of zombies being popular again. Before we talk about that being an absolute lie, so what's your thoughts? You guys excited for 28 years later?
Fantastically, yes.
hmm
I love that.
I have only seen 28 weeks later twice, and I've fallen asleep on it twice. I have not seen 28 days later yet with Cillian Murphy. So not so as of right now, pre-seeing the original film, because when I watched the second film 28 weeks later, I was a child and I had restrictions on what I was allowed to watch. So I was able to watch 28 weeks later, and that movie sucked. Kinda. Yeah, it sucked. So when I watch 28 days later, I will answer that question as of right now, I don't really have an answer until I've seen it, until I've seen 28 days later. So next Sunday, I'll try to remind myself to watch the movie, and I will give you an answer as to whether or not I'm excited about this movie because I have not seen it yet, and I do want to watch 28 days later now.
Was
This teaser is pretty great. Like this teaser is pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is giving me little tingles, a little bit of horror tingles. We haven't seen some good horror like zombie stuff since like season 4, season 5 of The Walking Dead.
So Lucas, before you drop what you're gonna say, but Noah, if you want to see some zombie teasers, and maybe I'll share it here with the community. So last week we talked about the Best Buy Resident Evil Haunted House event, but the viral videos that we made for that event, it's pretty top notch. I'll have to show you
with your friend who's like has the infection and he's going. Yeah, I've seen it. He goes throughout the different stages of the infection throughout each video clip. Yeah, you showed me them because it took you like a while to find them. Remember?
Yes, but did you see the anonymous viral clip that before anonymous happened? We did an anonymous style clip.
I am not sure. Maybe. I remember the ones with like your buddy with the virus, but I'm not sure about the other one. I may have.
All right. Well, I'll have to show you.
Lucas has no idea what we're talking about either.
No. I'm googling. I'm trying to figure out because I was thinking of a different movie earlier. It's a different zombie movie. I don't know if you guys ever watched Once Upon a Time, the show about all the Disney characters coming into the real world.
I know what you're talking about, but I have not seen it.
There's a character on there called Goldberg. He's supposed to be Rumpelstiltskin, but I don't know what his name is. I'm trying to figure out what the actor's name is because he was also in a zombie movie that I really, really love.
Why don't you just go on to Once Upon a Time cast and crew and then
find that's the what I'm about to do.
I don't know if I have it right here, but it says Mr. Gold.
Yeah, Mr. Gold. That's the guy.
Yep, he's from 28 weeks later. Yep.
I knew it.
Oh yeah. He was the douchebag dad that left his wife to die.
Yep.
I remember him.
Yep. I'll tell you, that's pretty effective because not only did he leave his wife to die, but there was no redemption arc redeeming this guy. So like he was a douchebag through the entire movie. Yep. All right, so let's see here.
I mean, not to mention that like it didn't even like him leaving his wife didn't even fix anything because she ended up making her way back to him. So it was kind of funny.
I don't
know,
and
it still doesn't help.
I don't
Those
know which
movies are nightmares, but I love them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how far you got, Noah, but he has another douchebag moment in the film later on. So
I only remember the last thing I remember about him before he gets turned is that he visits his wife,
hmm
and that's the
yeah,
last thing I remember.
yeah,
But I
that's the
don't
other
remember what
douchey moment.
happens. I'm pretty sure he tries to take her out, but I don't remember. Like I said, I was in and out of this movie, man. Like it was so bad. I'm hoping 28 Days Later is better. Like, is this the first introduction? Like, is this our introduction into rage virus zombies?
No, I'm sure it's been done before.
Okay.
Rage
People in
virus
the chat,
zombies?
let us know. Let us know. Yeah, with
Yeah,
the fast walkers.
Oh,
yeah, monkey virus.
That is
ah,
true,
gotcha.
CG. It could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, because
Mhm.
so like Walking Dead and Night of the Living Dead, they're slow. They were already dead, or they were dead and then they came back to life. Whereas
Yeah.
rage virus zombies, like the ones from 28 Days Later or Quarantine, really good found footage film. The
Mhm.
first one, I haven't seen the second one, but they're fast paced. They're not technically dead. They're technically like alive in a sense, but they have an
Oh,
incurable
so like World War
disease.
Z, sort of.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. They have an
Okay.
incurable disease that
Just no
causes
CGI.
them to. Yeah, yeah.
I only like the game.
But
Can
I
see.
can't think of a movie before 28 Days Later that had the rage virus zombies.
I'm sure there's something out there. So CG thinks that that could be cloth when we were looking at that second clip there.
Could be.
Let's see here. Let's see. The first felt like a young filmmaker making a college film, but on a big budget and a great story. And then the characters in 28 Days just got. Yeah, it does. It does have a vibe to it. I agree with you. So no, when you see it, it's that in an indie type of feel when you're watching a film that just
I've seen
pulls you in
clips
and you
of
get
it.
sucked in it. Yep.
And I already like
Fantastic.
already seen those
I love
clips.
it.
Like already seen those clips. I do understand that what you're talking about. It
Mhm.
does have that. It does appear that it's gonna have that kind of feeling. Let's
Uh,
just
but
yeah.
You mentioned it, and I'm gonna have to say it now. It's like Quarantine's probably in not. You know what? Quarantine, if you've seen the remake, but Wreck or Record is probably in the top 5 of zombie films. It is pure nightmare fuel watching that movie, the original version of it, and then the sequel to Record in its home country is actually a direct sequel to what happened in the events of the first one. Where Quarantine 2, the American version, takes place on an airplane in an airport, which is really good. Wreck 2 is, we find out that the dad went out for medicine for his young daughter, and we never hear about him. Wreck 2 is the dad sneaking back into the building with a group of kids and then getting all entangled in that mess again. So, yeah, I love the Wreck films.
Weird.
Are
Mhm.
these are non? You're talking about Asian films because I've seen the
No,
American
they're
Quarantine, which
Spanish.
I really like. Oh, they're
Yeah, they're
Spanish.
Spanish. Yep.
So I haven't seen the Spanish ones. I've seen the first Quarantine filmed in America, which I really liked. But I will now be watching the Spanish ones as well.
Yeah, when Rec first came out, it was wow. It took a few years for it to make the states here, and the rumor going around at the time is because we didn't have internet like we did back then. Is that, oh my God, this film's banned because it's so terrifying. So it floated through a lot of circles here, bootleg, because that's the only way we can get that movie before Quarantine was ever made. And it was like, oh my God, this movie's just amazing. So thank God it's available here now, and you can watch it. So, yep. Now I did before we switch over to our werewolf topic. So what I kind of mentioned earlier is like 28 days later, and then followed by Shaun of the Dead is always kind of like, hey, they created the renaissance of zombies in cinema, and we haven't been able to get away from it because then we got the Walking Dead and then the Dawn of the Dead remake and everything else. Everybody always overlooks the 1996 release of Resident Evil on PlayStation 1. That video game took the world by storm, and that is really the catalyst for what we're seeing with zombies today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it is safe to assume that Resident Evil brought back the resurgence in zombie films. Like it's not,
mhm,
like because it was Capcom was already a big name, and they're like, oh hey, we're releasing a zombie game, and then
mhm.
Resident Evil, like with its inventory slots and the camera angles that they chose, and like the type of things that were coming at you, like it was new. It was very new, and it was cool. And look, I mean, obviously, look at what it's done today, like where it's at today. But like,
Mhm.
I think that's a safe assumption. I mean, like, I wasn't alive for the original game to come
Mhm.
out, so I have no way of actually saying whether or not this is true. But I could see that being very realistic based on how well Resident Evil as a franchise has done, and what Resident Evil came out in '96, and then 28 days later came out in '07, right? Not '07,
28
'05.
02.
Oh, '02. My bad.
Mhm.
Sorry, '02. So it came out in '02. So I mean, like that's 6-year difference. That's not that far off. Safe to
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of the first video games that not only took the world by storm and everybody was talking about it, but after its release, it got a director's cut. It's like, how often do you ever hear of a video game getting a director's cut? So it was released, everybody loved it, then they came out with a director's cut, then they came out with part 2, and then they came out with part 3, and it's just, yeah, my God,
Oh,
everybody
and then
was
as soon
talking
as
about it.
Nemesis is introduced, then it's over.
Yep.
Because Nemesis is like, oh, it's like, oh, Resident Evil's like, oh, you mean that guy with like the weird face? Like, yeah, exactly. So it's like
Mhm.
once Resident Evil came out, Resident Evil 3 came out. Like I know, like now Resident Evil 2 and 4, like the big things because of Leon and his resurgence and potential
Mhm.
continuation in Resi 9, because he might be showing up in Resi 9 with Jill. Might I add? That's
I think it's
rumored.
actually from the Reddit leaks that I've recently seen. I think it's actually now officially confirmed that Leon is going to be in Resi 9.
Mhm.
Awesome. I hope that they bring back Ethan Winter's daughter. I liked her. I like her
Dude,
abilities.
me
and whatnot.
too.
Them working together would be so cool because then it's
That'd
not
be cute.
Leon.
I'd be so sad, bro. Though
Seeing
Ethan's
them work
story in
together.
Resi 8 makes me so sad.
I think so. Going back and looking at all of them, all of the main characters have survived
Mhm.
except for Ethan Winters. Ethan Winters was the only one that did not make it,
Yeah,
which is crazy because he also
tragic, bro.
It's crazy because he died in 7 and then was still the main character in 8 because he didn't know he was dead.
Yeah.
So it's like, talk about badass, first off. And
Yeah,
then he,
Ethan
and then he
Winters.
fights Magneto in a mech suit. Like, you can't. First off, way to make fun of 6 while being dumber than 6, but still being better than 6.
Hey, man.
'Cause
Don't disrespect punching of boulders.
Yeah, well, they made fun of Chris Redfield in 8 for punching a boulder, and stupid boulder punching moron. Like, and then they have him who's basically Magneto, but can't fight this giant mech suit that is made of a material that he can't bend to his will. Like, it's so stupid, but it's like it's hilarious because the overall story and game itself was great.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Mhm.
Village was
Oh, the
top
controls
tier.
were all. Play the remakes of all the games. I believe that is rumored that one of the because there's 5. I'm sorry, you brought up Resident Evil. I'm excited now.
No, it's
There's
okay.
5 games confirmed there's 5 games projects for Resident Evil that Capcom is working on. 3 of them are supposed to be like remasters. We're supposed to be getting a 30th anniversary remaster of Resident Evil 1. So if you want to play Resident Evil 1 with good controls, I would recommend waiting for the 30th anniversary to come out. It was remade in like 2015 or something like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that probably has updated controls, but like play the remasters if you want better controls. Cause like also it's not like they got better throughout the years because Resi 4's controls. Like I remember original Resi 4 controls. They were so stupid. I hated them so much. But I think we're also getting a remaster of that one arcade game about Jill Valentine. Is it Code Valentine or something like that?
Code Veronica.
Code Veronica, yes. And then there's been no confirmations on what the 3rd remaster is, but a lot of fans are speculating Resi 0 might get a remaster as well, or one of the Revelations series
The
might get remastered.
episode, like based one.
Was Resi 0 episode based or was Revelations episode based?
I think it was
0.
No,
was...
it was
0 was a prequel to the 1 through 3 going on at the same time.
Took place on a train, and 0 is really what we look. All the current games really now kind of evolved of what they did in Resident Evil 0.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, all the remasters, yeah, because they do kind of play with the same type of controls. So it would be safe to assume that they could remaster 0, but some people have also speculated Revelations, one of those games. I would rather see 0, honestly.
I want to see them remaster 5, dude. Oh my god, let me play as Chris Redfield again.
Does 5 need to be remastered though?
Yes.
Like, how old is it though? Like, it's not that old.
It's decently old. It's old enough
I
to
think
have
it came
the
out.
Xbox
It came
buttons
out
still pop up
after,
on the screen.
but it came out
It's
after the
08.
first Resident Evil remaster. Oh, wait, so I was wrong. Never mind. So maybe it could get a remaster. Who knows? But oh yeah, and then Resident Evil 9, I think is going to be called Apocalypse or Biohazard. So
Well,
we already had
Biohazard is the
Resident 7.
name. Yeah, Biohazard is the actual name over in Japan. That's the name of the franchise.
oh
Not
oh
Resident
oh
Evil.
okay.
Why would they change that? That's such a hard ass name. Like I get it, Resident Evil
Like-
is really cool, but
Like I was saying, like Resident
Biohazard?
Evil isn't cool as well. Resident
I think
Evil.
This
Yeah.
resident is in fact evil.
All right, so Resident Evil is actually going to segue us into what we're going to talk about next. But yeah, so like when it comes to the Resident Evil franchise, like the first movie that came out, it was good. I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't like the video games at all. And then we started going into the Matrix world, and it's like, oh my god, I couldn't. I got halfway through part 3, and I turned it off, and I never returned to that franchise. Never.
Good
returned to
choice.
that
Good
franchise.
choice. It
And
didn't
then
get
we
any
got
better.
yeah, and then Welcome to Raccoon City came out, and I love that. I love that because there's so many shot for shots that are directly taken from the video game that you see in the movie. It's like, oh, this is so good.
Is that the
Um,
newer one that came out with the Leon with black
yes.
hair? Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't like it.
yeah.
I also
Didn't
didn't
like
like it.
So okay, so here's what
I
I'll say.
like
Here's what I will say. I could not stop thinking of Victorious every time I was looking at Leon Kennedy.
Literally.
Another
No,
thing, too, Leon
that's
Kennedy
not
is not bad at his job. He was new. He wasn't bad at what he was doing though, and that also makes you lose faith in the main character. If he can't be a cop, how is he going to save people from the zombie apocalypse? I did like the character that they added, the captain or whatever. I thought he was funny, and it really carried the jotting parts of the dialogue and the character development itself. And also you can't incorporate aspects from 0, 1, 2, and 3 into a movie that's not even 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And then you don't give us Nemesis or not Weapon X, but what the hell's his
X.
name? Tyrant, Mr. X, or aka
yeah.
Tyrant, because he has 2 names.
Yeah.
But we don't get Mr. X. We don't get Tyrant. I'm sorry. So we don't get Mr. X, aka Tyrant. We don't get Nemesis. And we get what, a shot of the train after it's been crashed or whatever, I think, and that's it.
Yeah,
This movie needed more.
If they were gonna do any did they have Wesker in it? They didn't have Wesker in it. No way.
Wesker was the main villain, I think. He was
He
the
was?
mutated boss
Okay.
in the end
You
of
can
the movie.
tell how much I don't remember this movie just because of how much it
Oh,
it
guys
didn't
are hurting
impact me. I didn't
Dude,
agree with the cast
it's
on Leon.
It's like asking somebody to recap the first 4 video games in movie form. That's what the movie is to me. It is Resident Evil. It is the franchise. It's not what the original Resident Evil movie franchise was. That, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
But Welcome to Raccoon City was what the games were. But it's like if somebody asked you to quickly summarize it, that is what that's what I can say for it.
You had
I
the
don't like
studios.
that.
You had the studios getting involved and wanting to put too much into it, where they could have separated that out into 2 films. And we did get an announcement for a sequel to that, which has since gone and died because they're going to reboot it again.
What happened to the Netflix show?
Yippee!
Oh my god, the Netflix show is horrible. It's one of the
The
worst.
animated
we were
one?
supposed to get.
No,
We were
The
supposed
Netflix
to
show
get a
we
Netflix
got.
show taking place in the prison.
no, but we got a Netflix show that was so bad that they're like, we're never going to touch this again on Netflix because it was that
I was
horrible.
not. Yeah, I wasn't. I forgot about that. I was not talking about that one. I was talking about the one that they released a teaser of Leon and Claire in the prison together, and we
It's not
got
gonna-
the full suit and everything.
Well, the Netflix show bombed so bad that they're probably like, nope, we're never coming to it again.
Yeah, and that's bullshit because honestly, these games should not be movies. They should each game should get its own season, and then you can the show will either have the entire season play throughout both characters' stories and perspectives, or you can do mid-season, we're gonna come back for Resi 2 and show you Claire's perspective, like they did in the video games. That would be cool. Give
Yeah.
me 8 episodes a season, 10 episodes a season, 50-minute episodes. It would work.
Now, Lucas, you kind of mentioned, and I'm gonna let you talk about it too. Is I think we've all talked about when it comes to comic book movies and stuff like that, and TV shows and animated films, and DC has the best animated library when it comes to TV shows and films. But
Oh, yeah.
Resident Evil's animated films are fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, they're
Yeah.
they're like jaw-droppingly beautiful.
They're
Like
connected to the game franchise, by the
fantastically
way.
animated. The character designs are all exactly what you think they should look like. Granted, Leon Kennedy has brown hair for some reason in most of them, but I
He's
can get
supposed
over
to.
it. I
He's
can get over
supposed to have
He's a
brown hair.
blondie, and I like him as a
Honestly,
blondie.
in Resident Evil 2 and 4 remaster, he looks like he's got white hair. Like his hair looks silver. His hair looks silver.
Yeah, no,
But he's a
just
brunette.
I absolutely love the animated Resident Evil movies that they have made just because of the art direction alone. Those movies look like a game that we should have. Like we should be able to play that game.
Those movies are like they take place in between the
Yeah.
games, so they are canon to the universe too.
Dude, I'm
So
sorry. There's one where Leon Kennedy talks to the goddamn president.
he works with
We
the
love
president
it.
in the fourth one.
I know, but like he talks to him, and we see the president. Like we see Leon Kennedy and the president.
Yeah, so it
in the
fills those
same-
gaps in for where he's been in between 2 and 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
So no, we have a question for you. We'll get to that after our last topic, which we're moving over to the werewolves segment of our show
Oh
tonight.
my!
He has
Yes.
werewolves too.
Yep. And there's a reason why we talked about Resident Evil. So Werewolf starring Frank Grillo dropped this past week. I think I am probably the only one that's seen it here. And we've seen the trailer. It looks like a werewolf movie taking place during the Purge. It's a low budget indie werewolf film that has some really good things to it and also has some very bad things for it. So the first thing I'm going to say is I did not. Everybody's is, and if you watch reviews on it, maybe I'll get a review out this week. We have a new video dropping this week on the channel, so I don't know if I'll get the review out in time. But everybody's like, "Oh yeah, it is like Werewolves in the Purge." No, it's not. It's a Resident Evil video game for half of the movie, but with werewolves. Because we have two characters in the movie that are going through the city to get somewhere, and instead of fighting zombies in Raccoon City, they're fighting werewolves. So this movie would be perfect.
Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, it would be perfect for a video game. Werewolves would be perfect for a video game. I love
Resident Evil 8 is werewolves.
I haven't played it.
Yeah, it's got werewolves in it.
It's not just werewolves. Let's be
It's
real.
not just werewolves, but the first like third of the
They're-
game revolves
they're-
around you fighting wolfmen.
Yeah, they're called lichens.
Yeah, so
Well, that's-
lichens are
werewolves are. They're
werewolves.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. I'm just
Your
But,
point is still invalid.
Now with the werewolf concept, we've had like a mini resurgence with trying to bring vampires back and werewolves because of all the damage that Twilight has done. Like we had Hellhounds drop this year. Yeah, we've had Blackout drop this year. We had Werewolves drop out, and you know what? I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5 because the idea of this is very good. If they come back with a sequel for it and they throw more money at it and they do better storytelling, I think it's going to be really good. It's probably going to be a cult classic because it feels like an 80s horror movie because it's so low budget. I mean, you got werewolves in this movie wearing clothes because as they
I feel
transform,
like I'm gonna love this movie.
you probably are. I have to watch it a second time to just to get a better feel of it, but I was really disappointed because I wanted more action when it came to the Purge style of the story, and some things were rushed, and then there were some things that just don't make sense, right? They're werewolves, motherfuckers. They can smell, right? We have a scene where we have two people hiding from the werewolves, and the werewolves are like within a foot, and they can't sniff these people out. So that didn't make sense. And because it was a low budget, you have some recycled scenes that you can kind of pick up. I was like, wait a minute. I just saw that werewolf run across screen. Now we're going to use it like a half an hour later, the same exact scene. And then some of the acting was pretty bad when it comes to some of the side characters and stuff in it. But what kind of got me, what threw me off of this entire movie was the ending scene. is to show off Frank Grillo shirtless with his 8-pack, the moonlight shining in from the window, glistening on top of his sweaty upper body. And I was like, the whole movie wasn't about this. I can understand if we were trying to sexualize any character and we were doing it through the entire movie, but we're doing it at the end of the movie and it just doesn't fit. It took me completely out. It's like, what? No, don't add this in there. Don't put this in there, Cal.
Really throw it in there, like really sell it for him. You know what I mean?
And it was slow mo. It was slow mo for the scene. It's like, oh, he's leaning back, and it's like, what? It doesn't fit. Why are we
You got
doing this
sexy
now?
Neo.
I think it does fit. I think you're just old.
Relax, bottom.
They could have did that with a girl. It would have been like, it doesn't fit. It's like the eternal sex scene. Why are you throwing this in? It does not work now.
Oh, it sounds like those like obligatory, oh, this Marvel hero has his shirt off in this scene and he's conveniently putting water on his body.
Yep.
That's what it was. It doesn't fit. I hate that. It's like you had two different people writing different scenes. It's like, all right, let's piece them together, and it just
that does sound like a
Spider-Man
dream I've
3
had
with
before,
Venom.
though. I will not lie. That does sound like a dream I've had.
Well, Frank Grillo's a good-looking guy,
Frank
but you
Grillo
know,
naked?
from the top up, but it just doesn't fit the film.
Like, listen, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying that if it's not playing a part in the story, I don't need it. I'm here for a movie, not for.
That's right. If it doesn't play a part in the story, I don't need it to see it.
What's this werewolf smutting my fucking phone?
Like, what is it? Furry? Like, we're watching Furry on screen right now?
No.
I will say, if you go in with lower expectations, you're going to love the movie. It's probably going to be a cult classic. So
I wasn't going into it thinking it was going to be an Oscar winner.
Neither did I. I thought it was going to be.
I wasn't even considering going into it. It's just not my type of movie. But now I'm going to because of the
It just
scene
sounds
you just
fun.
described. It sounds awesome.
almost as cancerous as the Velocipaster, which I also recommend people watch. It's on Amazon Prime Video.
Velocipaster.
The werewolves from the front, they look awesome, but they kind of overdo it a little bit. From the side view, it's like, I can really see where the low budget comes in. But you haven't seen a werewolf movie until you see one wearing a biker vest and a hoop earring in his ear. It's like, oh my god, what the hell?
I hope they cared so little about making it accurate that the hoop earring is like, looks like it also grew to match the size of the werewolf. You know, and also the clothing does make sense when half the population is turning into into werewolves, because we did see in Benicio del Toro's Wolfman, he wasn't naked. It was fully clothed.
But the clothes don't grow with you. They don't grow with you. You got to bust out the clothes if you're growing. Maybe.
Are you saying that
taller.
The clothes they match to size?
Yes.
I'm still a very. I'm still a very firm believer that Werewolf by Night is some of the best werewolf content we've got in a while.
Yeah.
That Marvel presentation. Yeah. That's some of the
such a poor.
He was scary. That was the thing. Like he looked stupid. Granted, yes, he looked dumb as hell. But he was scary. Like once you saw the blood.
That movie wasn't bad. That movie was okay. Like that special event film was okay, but you cannot tell me that that's anywhere near what we've seen in the past.
No. That's what I'm saying. It's the best werewolf content we have today.
It's the only werewolf content we have.
Well, no, we got a werewolf movie to watch.
We have a Dave Grillo movie. We have 2 movies, and honestly, the fact that you're saying that over a movie you haven't even seen is kind of crazy.
I liked it a lot.
The Werewolf by Night, like
you can try and put it down all you want.
It wasn't even about the werewolf.
The
movie wasn't about the werewolf. It was about the man thing and then the blood emerald. It wasn't even about him.
But it worked.
All right. Let's get back on track there. Let's leave the MCU out of this. But yeah. So if you like,
Pearls is the best modern day Wolfman movie.
Yeah, that's true. Werewolves, is so bad that it's enjoyable. That's where I'll leave it.
I'm
but,
so
fantastic! I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, so go enjoy the cheese fest of what that movie is going to be. So yeah, and then of course we got the Wolfman coming next year, and every time I see the trailer, it's like I'm going to see it in theaters, but
I hear that has like kind of the same situation like I was talking about with Werewolf by Night, but like he looks dumb as hell, and it
Who's
just like
making it?
who's making it?
Who do you think? It's Blumhouse.
That's why I asked. I wanted Lucas to know who was making it.
there's Lucas.
Who's making
They
it? Oh,
made maybe
Blumhouse? Never
one
mind,
good
never
movie.
mind.
One, okay. You got to give him at least one.
Name it.
Fucking, I don't know. Maybe that one.
I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard that one yet. Drop in the chat a movie you liked by Blumhouse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look through all the Blumhouse movies that I've seen now, and I'm gonna find the one good one. Just
All
to
right.
rub
Well,
them.
let's take a look here. So we got some time before we get to Noah's question. So Blumhouse movies.
we're
Let's
at the end,
see.
right?
Oh my God.
Question. I feel so excited.
We got paranormal
Normal Activity.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so the
oh,
first
Oh,
four
okay.
on there.
These are all the best movies they've made.
Insidious is good.
Insidious is
Sinister
great.
good. First
I
two are
love
good.
Insidious.
I like
Well,
the first two.
Insidious Part 1 is just a retelling of Poltergeist. Come on.
Yeah.
It has
That
almost
is
the
very true.
same scenes
That is
as
very true.
Poltergeist in
It's
there. And
just
then we
more-
got
I
Sinister,
do love the red and black demon, though. He always reminds me of Darth Maul.
the lipstick demon. So do we know why he's called the lipstick demon?
No.
Because
That's
that's
looking for the
that's
brands.
no, because that's what he did his makeup in, was in lipstick.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
His entire makeup was red and black lipstick.
Yes.
That's a bitch to get off. So,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
that,
like,
that sounds like actual pain.
I will say I would have loved to have seen Dalton like just have the chain in his hand, like, and use it as a weapon,
made
and then go against the
Whiplash?
demon, and then the Duel of Fates just starts playing.
Yeah, so
Blumhouse has good movies. See?
yeah. These are their good movies, and then we can probably look at a list that's twice as long of all their crap movies. Like Happy Death Day, I love the first Happy Death Day, and then you
I
get
do
the
too.
sequel. It's like, what did you do?
Did they make the first Smile? They didn't make the first Smile movie, did
No,
they?
they
Oh.
didn't make the first Smile.
I will say,
so-
looking back at Happy Death Day, well,
Sorry.
that is good.
It just flashbanged me with Dumbhouse.
Dumbhouse. Blumhouse, we're like Dumbhouse.
Yeah.
I will say, man, that actually caught me off guard. I forgot what I was gonna say. Shit.
That's a
I'll
good
give you a
one.
second. So over on our Facebook page, I have thrown a comparison. So Get Out versus Skeleton Key. So I like Get Out, but I saw it in Skeleton Key, so it was easy to figure out what was going on in Get Out after you see Skeleton Key. So I thought that was the better of the two.
I like Get
Plus
Out a
Kate
lot.
Hudson. Well, it doesn't have Kate Hudson, so we'll leave it at that.
Skeleton Key was actually a rather good film. I will say it's they really do play into the story that they're playing into. So what I mean like is I'm pretty sure they bought it like they were at a house in New Orleans, so like they're really going into certain stereotypes and concepts, which not a huge fan of some. Others are really good. The last line was not a fan of. Where the woman exclaimed that she wanted darker skin, and then the husband said that they don't last long, they don't stick around long. That seemed a little weird to hear. I guess it's like a play on the fact that black people in horror movies have actual sense to get out in a shitty situation. Like if something doesn't look right, they leave. So I guess I understand it, but like that scene caught me off guard, even as a child watching that film. And against your point, Lucas. Yes, those movies on that list were good, but it's also just talking about the franchises as a whole. There was like 5 to 6 Paranormal Activity films, and they are not all good. In fact, I would say anything after the first one.
The first one's not that good either. It's boring.
Were any of them good? Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't
They're
seen
boring.
the first one. Okay, so I haven't seen the first one since I was 7. So I would.
I
have
like
to
them
watch
only in the
first one
fact
again.
that like those are like YouTube videos that I used to watch when I want to feel scared. I'm gonna turn the lights off.
Yeah,
Like-
honestly, that's the only reason why Paranormal Activity is in my collection. Is I bought it after seeing it in the theaters, and like because they promoted, it's like, oh, this is the scariest film of the year, and you see the audience reactions. And I went to see it, and it's like,
Then you watch it and there's like nothing to actually be scared by.
yeah, So I was like, I bought it because I knew I'd watch it with my kids, because maybe I'm
I
watching it
thought
at
it
the
was
right
real when I
age.
watched it first.
Yeah, you
Me
get
as
a
well.
right reaction. So I was like, yeah, okay, well, all right.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
were you
think
happy with
once
the one that I gave you?
what
Dick?
was it?
Yep. Going back to Skeleton Key, so we got Joe Bryant's character would have been fitting for Mama Cecil in Skeleton Key since she was black, but would she have stuck around to be tricked? Yeah, interesting, very interesting.
I haven't
All
seen the
right,
movie.
so you haven't seen you have Skeleton Key is good.
Skeleton Key? No, I
Yeah,
haven't. No,
Skeleton-
unfortunately. I've seen House of Bones. I like that movie.
I think I've seen
not a
it.
good
I don't
movie.
remember
It's
it,
not a
so
good movie. It's so
I
bad.
don't know what
It's
I
that's
don't
probably why I
see.
don't remember it. All right, so no, we got a question for you. What do you keep all of your hair hidden, or how do you do that?
Go ahead. Give him the.
I can't. I have my headset on. So right now, my hair has been braided by my lovely girlfriend. So it's braided, and then I have on one of like those like Rasta beanies, the bigger ones. That is what is it, my hair is in right now. Other than anything else that I have, I used to wear beanies like a lot. Like I used to only wear beanies with all of my outfits, but then I decided that I wanted to grow my hair out in 2019, and I haven't stopped. Like I haven't gotten a cut since. So the only beanie that I have that fits is this one, and maybe my gray one at times that I used to wear on like my channel. But yeah, so big ass fucking beanie, and then my hair is braided.
I'm not gonna lie. When you did the side angle, I was like, "Oh my god, it's Roger! Fuck, it's gonna be Roger, isn't it?"
It's me, Roger. Well, I'll tell you guys like how I do it.
Whoa!
I don't know how. Are you talking about Roger from American Dad?
Dude, your regular voice sounds closer to Roger than that shit.
Damn it! I don't know what Roger's voice sounds like. Sorry, guys, if I just butchered it.
Oh, Stan.
All right, so we don't have any other questions in here, and
Regarding my
Honestly, it's probably for
oh,
the
by the
best.
way, for the person who asked the question, I did name my hair when I started growing that out. His name is Rupert. That is
would
not,
be.
and also I know we just referenced American Dad. This is not a Family Guy reference either. Like I don't watch Family Guy. I named my hair Rupert just because I thought it was funny.
all right, okay,
Yeah, you would, Noah.
yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Lucas. Bite me. Bite me. How about that?
All right, so we're supposed to do a Silent Night, Deadly Night ranking next week, but I know people are struggling to get through it. So if
It's
we
a
don't
tough
do it next
watch.
week, I'm probably gonna have to cancel that because
I
we were supposed to
honestly,
do
I
that
would
2
be
weeks ago.
so much more down if we did like Hello Kitty movies over that. Like it's just
Hello Kitty
about
movies.
as bad of a watch
Dude,
as Hello.
let's watch Barbie Friendhouse movies.
Literally.
No, I was joking. I was joking.
All right, well,
It
everybody,
might have
thank
been
you for
watch that though.
Thank you for joining us for our slashers, zombies, and werewolves episode. If you want to go
my.
and check out some of the exclusive interviews with David J Stieve from Behind the Mask with our announcement of the sequel of that movie, or if you want to see diced interviews with Jeremy and Jason Brooks from the Dice movie, go ahead and check out those interviews. The links are in the descriptions. And if you like Scream and Terrifier content, we got plenty of that on the channel. So tune back here tomorrow for some Terrifier theories on Popcorn Theory.
We should also mention that it's not confirmed that there's going to be a sequel. It's just that there's been a script sent to the director.
It's in the works. So
It's happening. It's gonna happen.
Potentially in
It's
the
gonna
works.
happen. Stop saying things. You're
Don't
gonna
give them
jinx.
falsehoods. Don't give them false hopes. I'm not jinxing. I'm saying, listen, I want this fucking movie to happen. I like the comics. Also, I don't think the comics are a prequel. I think they're just genuinely a sequel. Like to the first movie. Comics are really good. The comics actually, I will say, had the second half of the comics had a better second half than the movie did, in my opinion. Just based on like the way that the story was told and the ending that it had. But the movie's great. The comics are great. Mr. Scott, could you please make it?
Yep. All right. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one. And we're going back to our regular outro. So I won't screw it up this time. See you.
We'll see.
Oh, barnacles.
Hey, look, it's working. You guys can say something.
At Freddy's.
No, do you want a station?
You wanna be? I just don't care.
The people watching